guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So, yeah, this is a topic that obviously has been circulating around a lot of the retro gaming scene. In regards to, say, the Intellivision, as far as like the Amico is concerned, what brought me to want to do this video, because typically I don't really want to get involved in the Amico drama that's been going on. My opinion has always been, hey, if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not really, I don't have anything really to say about it. I have about as much information as everybody else in what comes out on the websites. So I don't really have anything to say. But one topic did kind of come to mind, and it was, I watched a video a couple days ago. Gamester81, he did a video talking about his point of view on where it sits as far as the Intellivision brand. And one of the things he said was, the Amico's kind of dragging, or, maybe not the Amico itself, but the drama circulating or surrounding it is kind of dragging the Intellivision name through the mud, tarnishing the brand. And I thought about that. I'm like, is that really the case? Now, obviously, yes, any negative press can affect a brand in a sense. But I look at it more like, the Intellivision that we're seeing today, the Intellivision Entertainment, which owns the Amico brand, is not the original Intellivision that came out. And we know that. I mean, anybody that's been really following this from the beginning, we know it's almost a different company entirely. I mean, there's some legacy people, I guess, from the original Intellivision, but I mean, the Intellivision came out 40 years ago. So and it had its run. It had its run up until I think 89, 90, somewhere in there, and then it kind of was kept alive through Keith Robertson, and different flashback consoles came out, and but it was all, the Intellivision games for the consoles, like the Xbox and the Wii and all that stuff. Yeah, so, but it was the original Intellivision brand. It was the Intellivision itself. And I think that brand is still going strong, especially amongst people in our community, in the retro gaming community, and especially the OG retro, the Atari and Intellivision, all the old stuff. People like me still highly respect the system and respect the brand, even though, there seems to be a lot of animosity going on. I think people are still looking at the original Intellivision and saying, that is my Intellivision. And I don't think that that's going to change. No matter what happens with the Amico, if it nosedives into the ground and the whole company goes bankrupt, I don't think that that's going to have anything to do with the reputation that the Intellivision has. And it's the same with the Atari. The Atari VCS went through the same kind of concept of let's revitalize the company. New people, the original Atari people have nothing to do with it. Let's just build a whole new company and start putting out a new product. And it has nothing to do with the original Atari. I mean, sure, it has, some games on there that, some reimagined games or whatever they're calling them. But people still hold on to the original Atari as to what it was. And that's what people are going to remember, no matter what the new Atari is. It kind of makes me think of when they take a brand, like a car. For instance, the DeLorean. Anybody that's watched Back to the Future knows what this car is. Or if you grew up in the 80s, you probably remember. This is an iconic piece of machinery. I mean, the DeLorean was a great car. I have one myself, which I don't know if I'm going to keep for much longer, but I do have one. Because it's something I always wanted. And this is, to me, what a DeLorean is. But today, they're making a new one. I think it's an electric vehicle. They kind of rebuilt the company, but it's not the same DeLorean. It doesn't look the same. It's not going to be the same. John DeLorean is long dead. It's not, the original car is never going to come back. It's just whatever is out there, and people are going to remember the DeLorean for what it was. Regardless of the fact that it has its own little history of, John DeLorean himself going to, going through the court cases and all that stuff, and it did kind of leave a stain on the brand itself. But I don't think anything that the new brand does today is going to do squat to the original brand. It's just not going to do it. The other thing that in John Gamester81's video, he talked a lot about the Coleco Chameleon. That was something I had no idea even existed. I was not a person that went to video game shows at the time. I was not really watching YouTube videos at the time. I had no idea that Coleco Chameleon thing even existed. But the brand is still there in my mind. Coleco still exists. And yes, they have made products like the Coleco Flashback, which it's an okay product, it's an at-games product. But, people still play the original ColecoVision. There's still games being made for the original ColecoVision. There's the CollectorVision Phoenix, which John talked about in his video that he helped create. That still exists. People still love the ColecoVision, regardless of what happened with that chameleon nonsense. Again, I didn't really follow it. I don't really care to. Obviously, it had a lot of crap going on. Turned out it was a scam. And that's exactly what's happening with the Amico. Everybody's jumping on board with it's a scam and it's not going to come out. And that's fine. If it's a scam, it's a scam. What are we going to do about it? If it's not going to come out, it doesn't come out. If it comes out, it comes out. But I don't think it's going to have anything to do with the brand itself being dragged through the mud. For instance, we still got people like Oscar Toledo G, who created a programming language, put out books. In today's world, where we can program and write code and make video games for the original Intellivision. People are still doing it. I'm part of the homebrew scene myself, and I'm talking to all the different programmers, and I'm seeing all this new stuff come out all the time. People still love the Intellivision brand. And of course, it wasn't as famous and as popular as the Atari brand was, or is, I should say. Obviously, the Atari 2600 was the dominant brand back in the day as far as video games are concerned. You go to a lot of people who are just not really into video games too much, and you say, do you know what an Intellivision is? They'll probably look at you weird. They might say, oh, a television? And they're not going to always know what it was, unless they had one when they were a kid, and they're like, oh, I remember that. I had that actually happen with me, with some coworkers. I said I was programming games for the Intellivision, and none of them knew what the heck I was talking about, but one said, oh, I had an Intellivision when I was a kid. But if you say, do you know what an Atari is? A lot of people will know what an Atari is. Even the people that weren't full-on gamers, they'll be like, oh yeah, we had an Atari. My uncle had an Atari, or so-and-so had an Atari. My grandparents had an Atari, and they played Space Invaders. You'll get that type of reaction. You're not going to get people go, oh, the Atari, that new VCS thing that came out. A lot of people probably don't even know that thing even came out. I've even seen other gamers talk about that, where they're like, oh, did that thing actually come out? I didn't realize it came out. It seems like it has a small little community on its own, but I really don't think, regardless of what happens to that thing, I don't think it's going to have any impact on what the original Atari is for people. And that's what I'm kind of getting at with the Intellivision. As much as I was kind of interested in the Amico when it first got announced. I was the first, I believe I was the first YouTuber to interview Tommy before the name Amico was even a thing. When he first came out with the news that they're making a brand new Intellivision. In fact, I'm sorry I don't remember who it was, but somebody reached out to me and said, oh, did you know that there's a new Intellivision coming out? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I didn't even know who Tommy Tallarico was. I never watched those shows that he was in. And they sent me a link, and then I saw the Facebook announcement, and I was like, okay, interesting, yes. I saw what they were targeting. I was kind of interested in it in the beginning, but then, as all these events started to unfold, and of course the COVID thing hit, and the chip shortage, and I just kind of was like, okay, well, I'll let them sort that out. I'm going to stick with my original Intellivision for now. And that's what I've been doing. I've been playing a lot of my original Intellivision. I'm programming games for the original Intellivision. To me, that is Intellivision. The Amico is kind of like another Intellivision. It's a different brand to me. It's not the same. So I understand that people are probably thinking, this is tarnishing and this is dragging the Intellivision name through the mud. I get that. But in a sense, I don't think it is. I don't think it will, regardless of what happens. Even if it comes out and gets released and then becomes a total failure, I don't think that that's going to tarnish the Intellivision name. I could be wrong. I mean, I'd like to hear your point of view on this. I'm just going by what I've seen, like I said, with the ColecoVision, with the car, with the DeLorean. You know, things have a past that will always be cemented in people's minds. And even when you try and revive it, you know, you're not going to change that past. It's not going to destroy all people's... People aren't going to be like, oh, Atari sucks, or Intellivision sucks because the Amico came out. I don't think that's going to happen. And I like I said at the beginning, I'm not really for the whole drama thing. I'm not going to sit here and pounce on anyone that likes the Amico or hates the Amico. I don't really... It's not up to me. I don't really care. If it comes out, it's fine. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I could be perfectly fine with or without that machine. And, you know, frankly, it is what it is. Anyways, yeah, that's what I just thought. It's not, like, I don't want to be confrontational with other people who are going to, you know, disagree with me on that and to say, you know, it is tarnishing the brand, but I would like to hear your point of view, and if you think I'm right or wrong. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think. Throw the comments down below. I hope you subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.